We can just start by settling into a cross-legged seat, with the invitation to close or soften your eyes. Maybe you have a block or a blanket underneath of your seat to elevate the hips if that helps you sit a little easier. And here we just begin to notice. See what catches your attention first as you begin to notice. Perhaps it's something in the body. Maybe it's some circulating thoughts from your day or from the weekend. Maybe it's something that's upcoming. Maybe it's just your environment in some way, the sounds, sights, temperature. And just allow your attention to drift a bit, to just become aware of where your attention is going in this moment. Through this process, becoming more aware, both externally and internally, it helps to center yourself. And eventually here, you might find yourself naturally becoming aware of the breath. And when that happens, you know that you've truly dropped in. Becoming aware of our breath is the most important thing that we can do in any moment. It's feeling this breath in, this breath out. Anchor your attention on the breath, taking the next few cycles in and out at your own pace. It may not be perfect, it might be a little choppy, it might feel a little short, or maybe it feels really full. And all of that again is just continuing to notice. Doing your best to let go of any judgment or preconceived ideas of what the breath needs to be right now. Quiet space of dropping inwards, of getting quiet, take a moment to set an intention for your practice this evening. Maybe considering what inspires you to be here tonight or come to your mat in general. Maybe it's a word or mantra that will inspire you and guide you. For me tonight, this practice feels guided by the heart space. For me, this space has actually felt a little closed recently. I could say in my mind that I love people and I can be I am very caring, compassionate towards people, but there was something that I was feeling inside that was kind of disconnected. And I think that's, for me, what it really came down to. And I think from my experience and from hearing other people share their experience is that it almost always boils down to your sense of connection to yourself, connection with one another, and connection to some greater power, whatever that is for you. And so for tonight, I'll simply share that my intention is connection, especially from the heart. I invite you to take a few deep breaths now, in through the nose and out through the mouth, where you're breathing life into this intention of yours. The exhale out the mouth is releasing the expectations, releasing the judgments that might come along with that, releasing how it might come to you. We'll take a few more deep breaths, inhaling into your intention, and then just letting it go. Just like that. One more time. If they're not already, let the hands come down into the thighs and drop your chin towards your chest. Allow this first stretch this evening to just be guided by gravity as you let the head drop down. And then start to trace your chin along the collarbone. Drawing one ear towards the shoulder, dropping the chin down and around and going the other way. Just finding your own pace and any sort of organic or micro movements that feel good to you this moment. Paying attention to how the jaw is connected to this area, how the shoulders are connected. And continuing to open up your awareness as you begin to move and receive these little nuggets of insight from your body and breath. The next time that the chin comes down to the chest, pause here. We'll move through a cow and cat-like shape. As you take your next inhale, lean forward, draw the chin forward, the chest forward, and the shoulders back. Then we'll reverse that movement. Exhale like a cat, tailbone tucks under, hands might grip around the knees. And we'll continue this movement flowing with the breath. Inhale forward. Exhale, rounding back. Keep going. Without any force. Going just to that edge where you can find sensation but still breathe fully, smoothly. We're not looking to fix anything in our practice, only to explore and make space. It's allowing our energy to flow because it knows what to do. Your body, your energy, it knows what to do. It knows what you need. It's these practices that support that. Help you connect with what it is that you need to work together with the mind and body. Last time we'll come into cat pose and then come through a neutral spine. And then inhale your arms up and overhead. Take a nice big stretch up at the top. If you want to wiggle fingers or circle wrists, you can take that sort of organic movement here. And then almost like a good morning stretch, you're just going to find a little organic movement, reaching up through one hand and then the other. We'll turn this into our side bend. So the next time that the right hand comes down, left hand comes over, we'll take a nice big stretch. Bring the top hand behind the head, just giving it a little cradle at the base of the head. And as you inhale, open up the chest just a little bit more, pointing up towards the sky. Exhale, elbow to the knee, curling down and in. We'll flow with this movement. Inhale, opening up the top elbow. Exhale, curling down and in. Take a few more cycles at your own pace. We're not pulling or forcing, just inviting space. Last time as you inhale and open up the elbow, and then you can release that hand and we're just gonna go up and over to the other side. Starting with a nice big stretch up and over, softening that bottom shoulder, and then bringing the hand behind the head. Inhale, you might be able to turn your gaze up, open the chest. Exhale, elbow towards the knee, doesn't need to touch, just curling in that direction. Continue to move with your breath. Last one. Take your time. And we'll inhale and open up. Release the top hand up towards the sky, and then we'll come through the middle and reach the arms out into a T shape. From here, we'll take our twist. Breathing in at center, like a corkscrew, twist in one direction. It doesn't matter which way you go first. One hand comes to the thigh, the other hand behind. And then cycling your breath to articulate this twist through the belly, the ribs, the chest, and even through the neck as you take the gaze to the side or even over the back shoulder. Making sure to take at least a couple full breaths in this twist. Unwind, bring your spine back to the middle. Inhale, arms up into a T shape and twist the other way like a corkscrew. Keeping the arms wide until you find that twist and then bringing them down to the thigh and to the ground. Unwind, come back to the middle, and we'll come over into tabletop. You can roll over the shins, sort of swing them out to the side. If knees are ever tender, it's nice to place a blanket underneath the knees for some extra cushion. And as you come into tabletop, taking just a little more organic movement here. So maybe that looks like a few more cow and cat. Maybe it looks like some sort of hip circling or side to side movement. Just getting a feel for all parts of the spine and how that starts to connect into the hips and shoulders and then ankles and wrists. Getting a sense of connection through the whole body. Come back to center. Feel the lower belly just slightly lifting up towards the spine to stabilize here. Send your right leg back so that the heel is in line with the hip. And then bend your knee so the sole of the foot is facing up towards the ceiling. Imagine you have like a block on your foot and pulse your foot up towards the sky just a few times. Nice and slow, keeping low belly engaged. It's a small movement. Pause the pulsing. We'll take big circles with this right hip, pointing the knee out towards the side like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, and then circling that right knee around in one direction. And you can play with the speed, you can play with the size of these circles. Switch directions. Start to feel, again, that connection through the whole body. You'll probably feel the other hip fire up at some point if it's not already. Staying aware of the arms and shoulders so you don't sink down here. All right, so bring both knees back together and then sit back in a child's pose shape. The legs can stay together, or you can give the torso a little more space by walking the knees out. Reach your hands forward, bow your head. On your next inhale, come forward to tabletop. Same thing on the other side. Send your left leg back. Lower belly is hugging up towards the spine. Bend your left knee, sole of the foot is pressing up towards the sky. Little pulses. Pause the pulse, point the left knee out towards the left side and begin to circle on this side. Switch directions. See if you can balance the weight in the arms so that it's not just one side that's holding you up, but you can really press into both hands evenly. Helps isolate this movement in the hip. Stick with it, be with that sensation as it starts to come into the right side, and then bring both knees together again and sit back to your child's pose. Arms outstretched, head bows. Come forward into tabletop. We have one more thing here from our table. Bring the right hand just a little closer towards the center of your mat and sweep your left arm up towards the sky. We'll thread the needle, sending the left arm underneath of the right and coming down onto the left shoulder and the left ear. If this feels like really intense and maybe you feel like you can't come all the way to the mat, this is a great place to put a block too, to just fill that space. Or if you had an extra pillow nearby, you could use a pillow under the head. The right hand can stay just where it's at, or you can extend the right arm towards the top edge of the mat. Taking a few deep breaths here. Observing how each breath is an invitation for space in the body, which is an invitation for energy to move through the body. Right hand comes back by the face and then press up through your tabletop. We'll go right into the other side. Anchor the left hand a little more towards the center of the mat. Right arm twists up towards the sky. Exhale, thread the needle right underneath of that left arm. Same option with the left arm, either staying by the face or extending long. Left hand comes back by the face, pressing yourself back up through tabletop. Walk the hands forward so you come into a modified plank pose. A straight line from knees to shoulders. And really, really slowly lower down to the mat, keeping this straight line, feeling the arms even get a little shake as they engage. And eventually coming all the way down to the belly for Sphinx pose, bringing the forearms underneath of you, elbows under shoulders. The head can stay down for a moment as you just find the right position for the arms. Elbows under shoulders will be quite a bit of a back bend. If that feels like too much, you might walk the arms a little further forward, right? For more sensation, walk them back. And then allowing your heart to energetically pull through the arms, shining forward. Start to look towards the front edge of your mat. Continue to press into the forearms to find this back bend. Maybe you can take the gaze forward. Just once again here, we really want to find space. So just notice where it might feel a little tight for you. Maybe it feels a little tense. And play around with those areas, letting go of the judgment. Breathe into those spaces. It doesn't need to be perfect. I don't even know what that would be. Any idea of perfect is one of those preconceived ideas that we have. Lower back down, bring the hands underneath of your shoulders, hug your elbows in towards the ribs, and press back up. Reverse that push-up or that chaturanga. Tuck your toes, shift your hips back towards your heels, and we'll find our downward facing dog from here. So having a nice slow warm up this morning, or this evening. And taking a few little pedals through the heels as you come into down dog. You can move around in an organic way to help open things up here. Once again, coming into that connection, feeling connection. How the arms support you here, how the legs are engaged. Take a walk towards the front of your mat, forward fold. You can soften your knees, option to hold on to opposite elbows to ragdoll. One of the best things you can do at the end of a day is just to let go in a forward fold. You might find yourself taking a few deeper breaths here. Maybe really shaking it out, right? Shaking the head, wiggling the arms or legs. Whatever feels good to you here, letting that go. If you are holding on to your elbows, you can release them, bend the knees even more, and slowly roll up to stand, feeling lower belly support you as you stack the spine. Head is the last thing to come up. Mountain pose at the front of your mat, opening the hands. And we'll go through just a couple of sun salutes to invite this heat and warmth to radiate through the body. And the area that I'd like you to bring attention to is right in the solar plexus, right in the belly as you move. All of our movements coming from this fire center, coming from the core. So just consider that as you begin to thread these movements together. Inhale, reach your arms up. Feel how your core engages to lift. Exhale, forward fold, hinging right below the belly to release. Halfway lift, breathe in, the core engages again as hands slide up to thighs or shins. Exhale, let go and refold. Plant your hands, step back to plank pose. Pausing here on our first one to feel the full body engagement from the core lifting up towards the spine, radiating out towards arms and legs, pressing away from the mat, the thighs engage. Connect to your breath. Always an option to lower the knees. Just know what you need today. Meet yourself where you're at. On your next exhale, chaturanga, option to lower the knees, one straight line. Stay in integrity, stay in this whole body engagement. Inhale, baby cobra, all 10 toes stay down, lift up head, shoulders. Exhale and refold. Press back up, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Lifting up through your center, hips reach high, and then drawing the heels down and back. Three breaths. You might find a little more movement. Bend the knees, gaze forward, walk, step, or float to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale to reverse swan dive, arms reach overhead. Exhale, right back down, forward fold. Just like the last one, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back to plank. Take a breath in, engage. Exhale, chaturanga, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Nice work. 3 breaths again here. Starting to come into a little more stillness. Just feel where you're at in your body. Gazing back towards the shins, actually past the shins. Softening your gaze, softening the mental focus. Bend the knees, gaze forward, walk, step, or maybe take a little hop towards the front of your mat and fold. Inhale to reverse swan dive one more time. Exhale, take it down through center. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to mat, step back to plank. Breathe in. Exhale, lower down to the mat, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your right leg to the sky. Just take a nice big stretch up through the right heel. Lower the right toes down. Inhale, left leg lifts. Keep pressing through the arms, extend through the heel. Lower left toes down. Bend your knees, gaze forward one more time. Step, walk, float to the front of your mat and fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, Tadasana. Pausing here. To breathe and notice. Reconnecting with your intention, with your reason or purpose for being here tonight. Just giving yourself a little smile for that. A nod to yourself. Thank you for being here. Thank you for this intention. the eyes were closed, you can open them here and you can grab your yoga strap. If you ever don't have your strap handy or available, I've also used like a shirt, right? An extra pair of tights or a belt. And you can keep it wide. It doesn't need, mine is looped. It doesn't need to be looped though. And we're going to reach this overhead. I don't know if you can see me completely here, but standing up tall, you're gonna reach your strap overhead and then bring like some tightness to it, right? So that you're kind of pulling apart the strap. And reach it all the way overhead, and we're gonna take a little side bend here, continuing to pull the strap apart slightly. So we'll feel those shoulders really engaging. I want you to bring some awareness into the head, that you're not leaning the head too far forward or too far back, but finding this alignment so that it's kind of a nice smooth sweep all through your spine. We'll come through center and go the other way. Breathe your way to the other side, continuing to hold that strap just a little taut. Good, let's go back to the first side. You might bump your hip out a little bit, just really playing with the space. And one more time the other way. Like you're reaching that strap out and away from your body. Good, come back to center. You might need to hold your strap a little wider. You'll see what works for you here. And we're just going to circle the shoulders. So you want the strap to be wide enough that you can draw your arms all the way back and down, right? If it's too wide, you might not find much sensation, right? So you can find the right distance for you. And we'll take this movement a few times, just going all the way back and all the way forward. And you'll continue to keep that strap pretty tight. With the weather getting a little cooler, like we were talking about earlier, the heart space, the shoulders and neck can really use a little attention. What happens when it gets cold is we start curling everything in, right? Everything starts to round. Hey, maybe that's why my heart space has felt a little closed. It's gotten colder. Maybe that's it. Darn cold weather. Let's just go one more time here. I'm gonna use this strap a couple more times. So once you get back to the front, yeah, you can shimmy out the shoulders a little bit. And we're gonna take the strap just in the right hand and reach it behind the back. And then the left hand drawing up that strap as high as you can for a cow face pose. We're not gonna bring in the legs right now, just for the arms and upper back. You might find the fingers touch, right? They might connect, and that's fine. You can still just let your strap hang there. But otherwise, that's really handy so you can have something to hold on to. With the top arm, lift that elbow up towards the sky and gently press the head back into the upper arm. And then feeling this left shoulder, right? This left side, the chest, everything just drawing open. It's not just the shoulder rotating, but the entire chest opening. Standing up nice and tall, remember your alignment through Tadasana. Rounded feet, slightly engaged thighs, lower ribs are knitted in, crown of the head reaches up. Let's just try to find 3 full breaths here. Good. Release the bottom arm. Let's switch sides. If you need to shake it out a little bit, go ahead and do that. And then once you're ready, you can go right on over to the other side. So left arm reaches up and down. Right arm comes behind. Walking your fingers along that strap. Just go through your own little process here of finding the space. Breathing deeply. Dropping attention inwards to notice. One more complete breath, wherever you're at, full inhale, full exhale. Release, sliding the bottom arm down. Let that go. You can wiggle your shoulders. Take a couple rolls with the neck. If the full circle feels okay, you can play with that. Otherwise, a few more half circles. We're going to use our strap one more time here. For this next one, though, we want to have a loop in it. So if you've never done a loop with it, you're just going to thread this piece through both metal pieces and then back through one, right? So it forms this sort of loop. And it'll be a little tighter. We can adjust it once we get here. And we're going to bring this behind the back, and it's almost like you're putting on a coat, right? We want to bring it right above the elbows. And then we'll find this position where it's almost like we have two serving platters on our hands. And the way that you'll know that the strap is tight enough is that you can press against the strap, that you can find kind of a tautness in the strap. So if mine feels a little bit loose, I could probably go a little tighter and still be kind of comfortable in my shoulders. And it's encouraging our shoulder blades to draw together on our back. And at the same time, though, we want to press the middle of the back into that strap. It's not a big movement, it's really subtle. All we're looking to do is not flare out our ribs, right? So if we're forward like this, like our ribs really jut forward, so pressing the back into that just kind of brings us back into center. From here, step your feet wide on your mat and come into warrior two. Doesn't matter which way you go first. So we already have our open chest and arms, shoulder blades drawing down the back, and then we can bend into that front knee, finding the depth that feels good to you today. So keep your gaze facing towards the long edge of your mat. Become aware of your breath. Maybe you even close your eyes. Just really feel into this variation of warrior two. Take your gaze over your back shoulder, looking back, keeping the biceps just gently pressing into your strap. And bring the gaze through center, look over your front shoulder. And we'll straighten the legs, taking a little pause in between. Hands come to hips. If the strap is too tight that you can't do that, just let it slide down a little towards the wrists, right? Keep the legs as they are in that warrior two stance. And then with the straight legs, we'll start to come into into triangle pose. We won't go all the way down. We're gonna keep our hands on our hips and go really slowly here, just reaching out through the spine, Imagine you have a wall behind you, so we're not leaning forward, right? We're just tipping over to the side. Nice strong legs. Press into your legs to come back up. And then turn your toes towards the back of your mat into that warrior two stance, but with straight legs. And a little triangle movement here. So both waists stay long. Nice. Keep the thighs engaged and lifting. Strong legs, press down, come back up. And we'll come into that warrior two on this other side. So if you need to slide that strap back up, imaginary serving platters on our hands. Bend into the back knee now, right? Finding your warrior two. And turn your gaze and your chest towards the long edge of your mat. Shoulder blades gliding down the back. The middle back gently presses into that strap. We have some fine little alignment cues tonight. And we breathe here. We notice. Find the balance between effort and ease. Take your gaze over the back shoulder. Take your gaze over the front shoulder. Straighten your legs. Point your toes towards the long edge of your mat. You can slide that strap all the way off. We are done with it now. Bring your arms to cactus shape and come into goddess pose. The knees point in the same direction as the toes. And once again, you might imagine that there's a wall behind you, aligning the back, shoulder blades, the back of the head, the back of the arms. This will be our last engagement before we come down to the mat and slow down this evening. Allow any sensation to come up. Use your breath. Really great job. Straighten the legs. Relax the arms. And just take a step towards the front of your mat. Inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, fold all the way down. Hands come to the ground. Bend the knees. Slowly sit all the way down to your mat. If you have a yoga block, you can have it handy here. You don't need it, but I'll give you an option to use it in a little bit. We're going to roll all the way down. So you can hold hands behind the knees and come to lie down. Just let your back land. If you have a hair tie or a clip like I do today, just get any of that out of the way. Arms go wherever they're comfortable. Just take a moment. Feel the support on your shoulder blades, on your hips. Draw your right knee in towards your chest. Give it a little rock side to side. And then send your left leg down the mat. Guide the knee across the body into a twist, with the right arm going the opposite way like a T, or maybe a cactus arm feels better tonight. pause in this twist. Back through center. Just switch sides. Left knee comes in. Give it a hug, a rock. Right leg goes down the mat. And then guide the left knee across the body into a twist. Left arm opens out to the side. No cranking or forcing. I mentioned in the beginning, I was talking about the importance of connection in our lives, connection with other people, connection with a higher power. And here specifically, connection with yourself. Especially in the way that you approach these poses. What's your relationship with yourself? Are you trying to force yourself into some shape? Is there judgment about the body in some way? We don't need to feel guilty or shameful for any of that either, right? Like that's another way that we're just in relationship with ourselves. But instead, just like our whole practice, noticing what's here. Through that noticing, it gives you space, it gives you the opportunity to choose something new. To come out of your twist, bring your hips to the center of the mat. If you do have a block or even a bolster would work, you might like to come into a restorative bridge this evening, just sliding that block underneath of your sacrum so that you can be supported and really restful here. If you don't have a block or a bolster or even a folded up blanket, you can take an active version of your bridge pose, just still getting that little inversion here, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips. Or if you really want to be kind of like less active, right? Maybe you just keep the hips on the ground and lift the legs up to the sky. And just using the ground as your prop. Even if you do have that block, if you're in this supported version, you could try lifting the legs up from here as well. Let the legs be a little soft. Micro bend in the knees. Earlier, the forward fold is one of the best things you can do at the end of a day, or even the middle of a day for a reset, right? Just bowing over, letting something go, shaking it out. The second pose that I'll call out like that, one of my go-tos if you're only going to do one pose, is this, legs up. You could make it even more restorative by propping your legs up against a wall. Sometimes I like to lay in bed and prop my legs up. At some point, you'll probably notice some sensation in the legs, blood kind of draining down from the feet, maybe even a little shaking. All of that is okay. Just continuing to notice. For now, we'll start to bend the knees and bring the feet down to the earth. Ground your feet. If you have a prop underneath of your sacrum, lift your hips just enough to slide that out. And come all the way down to your back for our final moment in Shavasana. Make sure that you're warm enough here. If you have a blanket, you might want to put that over top of you, or you might like to place a bolster or a bolster or a blanket underneath of your knees or head. Just any way that these props around you might give you a little more support. I always like to encourage you to use them, because the whole point of Shavasana is to come into a state of ease. So whatever you need to do to come into the most ease. Maybe you take a deep breath. Letting go the practice that's come before. Take a couple of minutes of complete silence. Your intelligent self knows what to do. Is time to move off your mat. Take special note of the state that you're in this moment, in body and mind. So that you can drop back into this state as you come to rest in your final Shavasana tonight in bed, going to sleep. Taking yourself through the same drop-in process of letting go, melting into whatever surface that you're on. And taking a few deep conscious breaths to let go of what's ever come before. For now, we'll give the toes and fingers a little wiggle. Begin becoming conscious of the breath to reawaken. It's the same thing that I encourage you to do as you wake up in the morning. Remember your breath. Bending your knees, rolling over to your side, and gently pressing up to sit. Bring your hands over your heart or prayer center. Closing your practice in gratitude. Thanking yourself, thanking this body and mind and energetic self for showing up tonight. Thanking one another for our presence here together. And anywhere else you'd like to extend your gratitude. Bow to you, to the light within, and carrying this yogic wisdom with you every step forward from here. Namaste, and thank you.